Welcome. Officially. Nice to see you again, Kim, Christine, Elaine. I'm back to the Zoom room for a late Sunday evening session. So we're just going to have a look at our quote for the day. And then there's some teaching around that. And then we'll have a look at today's lesson. And that'll probably be imagining. Probably won't have time for the text, given the lateness of the hour. So we'll see how we go. All right, so let me share my screen, have a look at today's email. All right. Okay, so who wants to read the quote? Quite a long one from Corinthians, the New Testament.
I'll read it.
Okay.
We put no stumbling block in anyone's path, so that our ministry will not be discredited. Rather, as servants of God, we commend ourselves in every way, in great endurance, in troubles, hardships, and distress, in beatings, imprisonments, and riots, in hard work, sleepless nights, and hunger, in purity, understanding, patience, and kindness, in the Holy Spirit, and in sincere love, in truthful speech, and in the power of God, with weapons of righteousness in the right hand and in the left, through glory and dishonour, bad report and good report, genuine yet regarded as impostors, known yet regarded as unknown, dying and yet we live on, beating and yet not killed, sorrowful yet always rejoicing, poor yet making many rich, having nothing and yet possessing everything.
Oh, well, quite appropriate, I'd say, given what we just discussed. So, really saying, the trials that may come to tempt you and test you on the hero's journey, serving only God or love, in a world of illusion made to deny the truth. So that's what Paul's talking about. And they did. He personally had to go through much of that, and many difficulties. In the end, was killed because of his beliefs. But saying, well, you've got to go beyond. You've got to go to the power of God. It's beyond all these things. So, saying really, don't expect it to be easy to serve only God or love in the face of the ego's seemingly stiff opposition, but that it's worth it. Because though you may face these trials, you'll be able to remain equanimous in the face of all of them, experiencing joy instead of sorrow, possess everything that's truly valuable. In other words, love and everything that comes from it, love, peace, joy, happiness. And though you may own nothing materially, and ultimately have eternal life instead of the suffering and death that characterize this world. Right? So having nothing yet possessing everything, have nothing materially, but life. That's and perfect life. That's beyond this world, beyond form. And it's a call really to join the likes of Yeshua, Siddhartha, the Buddha, Socrates, Laozi, all of whom are depicted in the picture below as a minister or teacher of God or love, your only real function in this world. So I'm among the ministers or teachers of God or perfect love.
That's quite something, I have to say. I was just thinking about it this morning.
What, to be a teacher of God?
Or when they say ministers, it's our perception of a minister.
Yeah. Well, it's a teacher of love, really. So it's maybe just change the language. Just change the language.
But it's basically teaching through doing rather than preaching, right?
Yeah, I mean, you try and be guided, in your thoughts, words, and actions. That's the truth. And you may not always get it right, but you carry on. You're on the path. I'm sure they didn't always get it right. I think people think the likes of Yeshua and Buddha and so on are somehow beyond error. I think. And since Jesus led a perfectly sinless life, so in other words, never made any mistakes. It's probably unlikely. Just that he transcended them, ability to let it all go in the end. So that's what we've all got to do. So,
but not always, probably.
I'm sure they were tested. So no one goes to enlightenment without being tested. And it's recorded, not so much in Yeshua's case, because there was this whole illusion that it's absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to give me 5 minutes. Perhaps if I can ask you to carry on reading, just read the. I just have to say good night to my son. So just I'll leave it on the screen, and if you can read the next couple of paragraphs, just take turns. So Elaine, maybe you want to read the next couple, and then Christine, if you read, and if anything comes up, discuss it, and I'll come back in 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. See you now.
Your ego or belief in separation will tell you that thinking you are among these spiritual giants is arrogant in the extreme. Who are you to claim that you are the same level as these masters? It may ask you, and then it will tell you that you'll never get to that level. So best you get back in your box and stop these delusions of grandeur, trying hard not to reveal its own arrogance in this belief. But do not listen to the lies of the ego, because every one of these masters said that you have access to the same power to work miracles through love as they did. To quote Yeshua again from the New Testament. Someone wants to read the next one.
Shall I do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these. From John chapter 14, verse 12.
So we can all be Jesus. We just have this arrogant ego that doesn't allow us. I guess, is that what it's saying?
Yeah, well, it's limiting belief as well through the ego. That we can't reach that, is what it's saying. And how
Yes.
could we even consider that?
Yeah.
Yes, we undermine ourselves and doubt that we're capable of walking this path of perfect love.
Yeah. So if they can do it, we can.
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
It's just getting, well, for me at least, getting to the point where I believe that or perceive that.
Mm.
Yeah, I find that if things get tough, like I was imagining you, Kim, in your corporate situation, being attacked from all sides and feeling very stressed, and the adrenaline pumping through your body. I never have anything like that. But even the slightest challenges where my ego is triggered, I actually can't think straight. And it's only afterwards that I realize if I'd only focused on my breathing, took a few deep breaths, it seems to calm me down and clears my head. And then I can exude love and compassion and understanding for those who I think are attacking me. Even silence is better than trying to contest or defend yourself or offer a solution that you're doubting whether it'll work. But it's always in retrospect, I know how I could have behaved and I didn't.
Mm.
So it's about remembering to trust that the Spirit will come through, or even to just ask. I mean, using the Ho'oponopono is another wonderful tool to just get you present.
Yeah, and to just calm down that state and thoughts.
And thoughts, yes.
So
It's practice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you get to? Have you read all of that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what's Yeshua really saying? Like we are as he was. Ego's going to tell you, who are you to be like this? Who are you to be a master? But don't listen to it. Because they had access to the same power to work miracles through love. You have access to the same power as they did. As Yeshua says there, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I've been doing. They will do even greater things than these. In most, in traditional Christianity, they don't really focus very much on that passage, do they? Because Yeshua is seen as very special. He's the only Son of God, but actually, he's saying there we're all the same, and you can do even greater things than me. So I'm not anything special, but it undermines the whole he's the only Son of God idea, and he's so special, which indicates that it's false. That was introduced after the fact. What he actually said was completely opposite to that. So never believe the ego when it tells you that you're unworthy of greatness, which is not the greatness in the ego's interpretation of the word, what Yeshua calls grandiosity in the Course in Miracles. It's designed to puff up the ego's self-importance and compensate for its underlying feeling of unworthiness. Greatness refers to feeling and extending the infinite love of God and the peace and the joy that go with it to other people through all your words and actions. It's as simple as that. Can you extend that love? Can you remain in that love? And the great spiritual teachers managed more than others. It's as simple as that. Were they always in that state? We don't know. Probably not. Certainly not as they were journeying and they were learning. History records that they had their experiences. They had their own awakenings. The Buddha nearly killed himself. Yeshua had to go into the desert for 40 days and meditate and pray to overcome the ego. So they had their experiences, but in the end they did overcome, and they were able to consistently let go. They're all masters of the art of letting go. That's all we have to do is master that. So they dedicated themselves to that task of just letting go of whatever's blocking their awareness of divine love. There's nothing stopping you dedicating yourself to the same task. claiming your rightful place among the ministers of God. Phrased another way, the great teachers of love, accept your own resistance to the truth of who you really are. So they weren't anything special. They had access to the same power as you do. They were just able to surrender their egos and allow it in an unusually strong way. In the Star Wars movies, they call them Force sensitives. The Jedi and the Sith are the people who are sensitive to this power. So we all have it. We can all access it and use it if we will let go of our resistance to the truth. So that brings us to the movie, which I shared yesterday. I thought I'd do it again. Did any of you watch Mary Magdalene? So definitely worth watching. So the focus is on her, but Yeshua is the Joaquin Phoenix plays Yeshua. It's I thought it shows her journey very well of her hero's journey of awakening and how he is the catalyst for that, and she kind of journeys with him and then actually becomes kind of almost the most enlightened disciple. She kind of gets it on a level that others don't get it, which again, that was all written out of the New Testament, but because it wasn't it wasn't PC for a woman to be like the chief disciple, so that all got sort of changed and written out. But the movie sort of indicates that she actually got it more than the others. And there's a great scene where she's like, "No, you're just not getting it. You're not understanding what he means." Was it in this movie? It was another one. It was in Risen.
She say that.
Yeah, and she's saying, but when he's died, I'm not sure if it's in this one. Might have been in Risen, but in Risen she also features, and so Yeshua's died, and then the disciples are like, well, what does this mean? And what he said, what he said is that they misinterpreted what he meant, that he would come, and he would be raised up, and that he would. A lot of disciples thought he would be some kind of liberator on the level of form, and so he'd liberate them from the tyranny of the Roman rule, and they were expecting him to do that. And then she said, well, maybe that's your expectation's wrong. That was never what he was about. It's never what he actually taught us. And she got that, I guess, not being male and fueled by all that testosterone, and that she could get something that they couldn't. She understood that his mission was really spiritual, and he was trying to liberate us from the entire realm of the ego, this world of time and space, and the details of who happened to be in charge at that particular point happened to be the Romans. But there's always someone in charge. There's always authorities in this world. He wasn't that interested in. So he said, "Well, give what is Caesar's to Caesar." And when they said, question was, should we pay taxes to the Romans? And he said, well, what do you see on the coin? And they said, well, it's Caesar's head, because they use Roman currency. He said, well, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and then give unto God what is God's, which is a great answer. Like, well, that's in that domain. So yeah, it belongs to them. It's their system. You pay your taxes, but give unto God what is due to God, which is your heart, your mind, your soul. And so very eloquent answer. So definitely worth watching. Some interesting points, particularly if you, because the hero's journey is often been associated with the male journey, and often is described in those terms. So what about a female hero's journey? Actually, most of the people who are on these kinds of journeys are female in this world. Men have their journeys as well, but I mean, you see from our community, there's two males, me and John, and that's it, and the rest are females. So that tells you. So how does it apply to women? Well, in the same way, but so you need examples as well. So Mary Magdalene's an example of a woman who went on her hero's journey. She found courage, she awoke, she overcame her own demons, and became, really very enlightened. Many say she was on the same level as Yeshua, and she kind of took over from him when he departed. But that's all been written out in history books. So yeah, it's definitely a good watch. And then if you didn't listen to David's commentary, so that's actually about the movie. So that's interesting because you can actually get the key takeaways from the movie, spiritual takeaways by watching it, by just listening and commentary, even if you haven't watched the movie. But if you've watched it, then it'll be even more meaningful. Okay, so that brings us to the session and today's lesson. So let's have a look at that. So just going to forward this bit. Okay, so let's have a look at today's lesson, which is lesson 154. Okay, so do you want to read that, someone? If you read both the original and alternative in paragraph 1 for us, that'd be great.
I'll read.
Okay.
I am among the ministers of God. I am among the teachers of perfect love.
So yeah, just the language there can make quite a big difference. Ministers of God sounds a little bit maybe formal, religious ideas of, okay, I don't want to be a church minister, preaching, so a lot of people might get turned off that because they know that's just not me. But if I'm a teacher of perfect love, that's a different story. A teacher of perfect love can operate anywhere, in any situation. We teach a perfect love in the corporate world, in family life, in social encounters, because it's just love, and love is fundamental to every encounter you have, every relationship. So it's to teach it consistently. Okay, so number 1, read it in the alternative.
Let me today be neither arrogant nor falsely humble. I have gone beyond such foolishness. I cannot judge myself, nor need I do so. These are only attempts to hold a decision off and to delay commitment to my function. It is not my part to judge my worth, nor can I know what role is best for me. What I can do within a larger plan, I cannot see in its entirety. My part is cast in heaven, not in victimhood and suffering. And what I think is weakness can be strength. What I believe to be my strength is often arrogance.
So heaven just becomes pure formless awareness. Cast, my part is cast in, maybe lies in. What do you think? Lies in. My part lies in pure formless awareness, not in victimhood and suffering, which is hell. Cast in heaven, not in hell. That's the major translation in there. Okay, so what's he saying? Summary.
I think just not, if we say we're among ministers of God, it's not about the formal act of a minister ourselves, which might bring up ego-like feelings of, okay, I don't see myself in that position. My ego might say, this is arrogant for you to think of this, or okay, you don't feel like you're good enough or worthy for that position. It's really about extending love to others, and that's how you teach love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's very simple. The grandiosity of the ego. Oh, you're going to be like Yeshua, the Son of God, or the Buddha. And what we do, Adam Watts put it quite well, is we pedestalize. He used the word pedestalize. I'm not sure that's even a word, but we put them on a pedestal, in other words. And we go, he's so amazing. He's so far above me. There's no way I can ever attain that level. So I'll kind of make him a demigod and I'll worship him. And this is one of the ways that ego defends against the truth that you are as he is, as he was, and as he is. You are that, which is exactly what he's telling us. In this quote couldn't be clearer, could it? And this isn't from the Course. This is from the Bible. This quote very truly. You want to read that?
Very truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these.
Oh, I mean, he's not saying he's anything special and anything above us and superior. In those words, he's saying, actually, you can do exactly what I've done and even greater things than these. So he's not limiting us in any way. But as I said, it's not a passage that's much focused on in Christian teaching, because they've got this thing going on, this illusion that somehow Yeshua was very special. He was the only Son of God. And he's put on a pedestal, and no one can attain that level because he's the only one. He's the one Son of God. So what does that make all the rest of us? Some kind of sub children. We're kind of children of God, but we're not quite as good as him. We don't quite have the same access to God and the power that he had. But he's saying that's not true very clearly. So it's actually quite a threatening line for the whole of formal Christianity, traditional Christianity. It kind of questions, the whole illusion that Yeshua is very special and he's the only Son of God, and he's somehow above us, and we have to worship him. It brings into question all of that, and it's in the Scripture directly. You can read it in the Bible, John 14:12. But again, so what you choose to see. So often it's kind of overlooked. Okay, so what else is he saying there? I'm going to summarize number 1, paragraph 1.
Another summary, Jono.
Yeah, are you happy with that? It's I think it's. Are you happy with what you did? Possibly that's all. That's good enough. And do the larger plan. I cannot see it in entirety, so it's not my part to judge my worth. And so he's saying, really, we can't judge our role. We can't judge our worth. The part lies in pure formless awareness, not in victimhood and suffering. What I think is weakness can be strength. What I believe to be my strength is often arrogance. So really questioning, our existing thought system, our existing judgments, and saying, I've got to let go of that and find a deeper self, deeper part of my mind, which takes me into pure formless awareness and beyond victimhood and suffering. That's exactly what you've been tested on right now, isn't it? So go beyond the story of being a victim and suffering of any kind, and try and access that pure formless awareness, which is the truth, moment by moment by moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm good. Happy to move on to number 2. So, Christine, if you can read that one, whatever my pointed role may be. Okay, I don't know where Christine is. So maybe Elaine, you do that one.
Yeah.
No, is Christine not over there? Christine, you there?
Yes.
No?
Whatever my appointed role may be, it was selected by the voice for perfect love, whose function is to speak for me as well. Seeing my strengths exactly as they are, and equally aware of where they can be best applied for what, to whom, and when, it chooses and accepts my part for me. It does not work without my own consent, but it is not deceived in what I am and listens only to its voice in me. Surely it is, but I am not deceived in what I am. Oh, I see, it's the voice coming through is not deceived in what I am and listens only
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
its voice in me.
Yeah. Yeah, originals, it does not work without your own consent, but he is not deceived in what you are, listens only to his voice in you. So remember, it's just your own true awareness, awakening to itself, remembering the truth. So you're not deceived in what you are, and you listen only to the remembrance. This voice for perfect love, voice for God is the Holy Spirit, or we call it the remembrance of perfect love. Voice for perfect love. It's another name for the Holy Spirit. Okay.
And this voice will speak for me and will help me best apply in whatever situation, to whom and when. But it will be with my consent.
It's really, it's saying it's, you've got it all sorted. This voice knows your strengths. It knows what to do. It knows what to say. It can guide you in every situation. What should you do? Where should you go? Who should you speak to? These are all, questions often the ego answers and doesn't give any clear answers. The Holy Spirit will tell you.
Yes.
And it can give you quite specific guidance, which is it's extraordinary quality. Although it's remembering perfect love, which is completely abstract, it can translate that in this world into form in a very helpful way. So then you have your special function unfolding in form is to awaken to the truth and to extend the truth through you, and that's why you're here. And so it'll show you how to do that. It'll give you specific guidance, down to like, okay, well, you're going to do this now. You've got a situation, do this, speak to that person, make that phone call, send that email. Well, don't do that. It can also give you, no, that's not the right way. So sometimes, do nothing. So this is, the kind of guidance you're getting, wise counsel. And guidance is not creating more separation. Guidance that's leading you back home to perfect oneness. Okay. Any other thoughts, comments, questions about that?
Just have to remember to be aware.
Yeah.
And remember to ask for help when challenged by a huge attack.
Yeah. It's remembering. So you remember the truth. You're taking the seemingly separate fragments of this mind, this one mind, and you are remembering them. You're putting them back together and making it into one whole. That's what you're doing. So it requires vigilance, awareness, vigilance, ongoing, which is why we have a practice like this to help us.
And to focus on the at-one-ment.
Yeah. So the lessons are all, when you practice a lesson, you're practicing at one-ment. Okay. Any other thoughts on number 2?
No.
All right. I'm happy to move to number 3. I think, Elaine, if you can read that one for us. So this got a bit to translate, so read the original and then the translated version, sentence by sentence, please.
It is through his ability to hear one voice, which is his own, that you become aware at last there is one voice in you. And it is through its ability to hear one's voice, one voice, which is its own, that I become aware at last there is one voice in me. And that one voice appoints your function and relays it to you, giving you the strength to understand it, do what it entails, and to succeed in everything you do that is related to it. And in the alternative, and that one voice appoints my function and relays it to me, giving me the strength to understand it, do what it entails, and to succeed in everything I do related to it. God has joined his Son in this, and thus his Son becomes his messenger of unity with him. Pure formless awareness, perfect love is joined in its extension in this, and so its extension becomes its messenger of unity with it.
Okay, well, it's disappeared there. Maybe I disappeared. Okay, so what's he saying here in summary?
Well, there's one voice, and if we are guided by that, then we can join with the extension and become its messenger of unity.
Yeah.
But it's the ability to actually do it and hear it.
Hmm.
And it gives us the strength once we tap into that one voice.
So it gives us the guidance. It tells us what to do, where to go, and seems it has a wisdom that's way beyond the egos. So it can solve problems on another level. The point is not really form. It's not that concerned with the form outcomes. It's just concerned with your peace of mind. So the problem solved, and because you let it go, you restore your peace of mind, and then that peace of mind starts to program the quantum field, and then different things happen, things show up to solve the problem at the level of form. So you solve it in the inner domain of spirit first. We look at into a model. Let's see, let's go back to into a model. Just to solve it on the level of can't solve. Most people try and solve problems on the level of the external, the exterior quadrants, and just looking at the flatland cause. Okay, well, there's a problem and the cause seems to be this and this, so we'll address it. But actually, we just keep having problems. Whereas if you go into this, right, the subjective reality, and you discover the source of the whole dream, takes you back to to the root cause, and there you can correct it. And then you get the guidance You corrected, you connected and connected to pure forms awareness of perfect love by this remembrance of it, and it manifests in and through you into the world, and it tells you what to do and where to go, and various performance outcomes arise, and often they're very beneficial to you and others, beneficent blessings, call them, which then reinforces, this thought system works. Okay, so any other thoughts on Elaine? Any other thoughts on number 3? Anyone else? Questions?
It's very clear, but it's tapping into that, isn't it? Finding that calm with all our adversities.
Yeah, it's a simple teaching, but to actually do it in the adversity and not allow the ego to come in and hijack your mind that's why we mind train. That's why we do the mind training, because it's not easy. So we seem to be living according to a different set of laws in this world that seem to be overtly so the reality. And now we've got to correct our thinking and remind ourselves this is all a product of a false belief system. So yes, of course, it seems to be real. That's the nature of the dream, but actually, it's not real at all. Okay, so in this joining, we're happy to move on to number 4.
Yeah.
This joining. Read it again, original, and then alternative line by line. And I think it's the Kim again. If you can read that one for us, kindly. Thanks.
Sorry, the original and the...
Yeah, because there's a bit to translate. So just sentence by sentence, the original and then the alternative.
Right. It is this joining through the voice for God, of Father and of Son, that sets apart salvation from the world. It is the joining through the voice for pure formless awareness of perfect love, of source and extension, that sets apart awakening from the world. It is this voice which speaks of laws the world does not obey, which promises salvation from all sin, with guilt abolished in the mind that God created sinless. It is this voice which speaks of laws the world does not obey, which promises awakening from all sin, with guilt abolished in the awareness that pure formless awareness of perfect love extends innocent. Now this mind becomes aware again of who created it and of his lasting union with itself. Now this awareness becomes aware again of what extends it and of its lasting union with itself. So is itself the one reality in which its will and that of God are joined? So is itself the one reality in which its will and perfect loves are joined?
Oh, okay. So what's he saying there?
The voice, I believe, is spirit, of voice of pure formless awareness of perfect love, of source and extension. So it's this one voice or one message, so to speak, from both pure formless awareness of perfect love and an extension, i.e. God and spirit, which speaks a message that our world, in terms of the ego, does not obey. It doesn't reconcile. It talks about awakening from all sin, whereas in ego land, it's, the sin is what does exist. So now that this awareness, now that you become aware of that, through pure formless, this message or voice coming from pure formless awareness and its extension, it's something that's everlasting. So that is all what it is, and that's the reality.
Yeah, well explained. And it merges with itself. So this awareness becomes aware again that this is it. It's itself. It awakens to the knowledge of itself again through us. And it's itself, the one reality in which its will and perfect loves are joined. So this is the union of the Father and the Son, extension and its source, into one awareness that knows no separate parts. It's just one perfect awareness, pure formless awareness. We call it a perfect love. It's so simple. It's such a beautiful, simple, elegant idea, isn't it? That we all just one awareness, and any separation from that is delusional. It's not true. And in the end, there's only one awareness, and you are that awareness, and everyone's that awareness. So there's no limit to that awareness. It's not limited to one person. But if you have it, then you recognize that everyone has it. It's the same awareness of who you really are, your source. And so it's awareness, maybe instead of will. So it's awareness, perfect lives are joined. Maybe we'll make that pure formless. Awareness of perfect love. And so eventually you become pure formless awareness of perfect love. There's only that awareness remaining and nothing else in your mind. And that's the journey of awakening. We're all on to get better and better at listening to this voice for pure formless awareness of perfect love and not believe in form. Okay, anything else to comments, questions on number 4? Happy to move on to 5 then. So this one doesn't need a lot of translations. So just read the alternative. I think it's Christine, if I'm right.
There is one major difference in the role of heaven's messengers, which sets them
No,
off.
I think you skipped. It's number 5, an alternative. There we go. Highlighted it for you.
Okay,
Messengers
so just
are not
read.
the ones. You're right.
Messengers are not the ones who write messages they deliver, nor do they question the right of those who do, nor ask why they have chosen those who will receive the message that they bring. It is enough that they accept it, give it to those for whom it is intended, and fulfill their role in its delivery. If they determined what the messages should be, or what their purpose is, or where they should be carried, they are failing to perform their proper part as bringers of the message.
Yeah, so what's he saying there in summary?
So he's saying that in performing this form of messages, but one is only a messenger who delivers to those who receive the message or to whom the messages are directed, and the content of the message is also not created by the messenger, but comes through pure remembrance of perfect love. So our role is specifically to deliver.
Not to
It needs
interfere,
to go.
really. Is to let go and trust, the guidance, and then so that the message is always the same. It's of perfect love, but it's conveyed in many different ways, in many different relationships, situations, and the Holy Spirit is the one that can do that somehow knows, okay, this is what you should say, what you should do, and guides you, rather than you trying to do it on your own steam and try and control the process. So you trying to determine what the messages should be, what their purpose is, where they should be carried, to whom to give to them. Then it's not spirit directed anymore. So it's being directed by the ego. So don't interfere. Ask for guidance. That's really the message, isn't it?
Yeah, this passage is specifically for me because I worry about whether I'm saying things right, and have I thought of everything, and am I doing it in the right tone of voice? Whereas if you let all that go, the anxiety of performance, and trust that it's coming through you from a higher level, then it all works out perfectly.
Yeah. And then the flow is happening, and you are not doing it, you see?
Yeah.
That's the key thing. You are not doing it. You are being done through. You are now a channel for the Holy Spirit to come into the world.
And you can't take any credit for it either. You've just got to
be
humble and surrendered.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, teachings like he who humbles himself will be made great, and not thy will, but my will be, not my will, but thy will be done. These are all, ancient teachings that are pointing to the surrendered state where you're not in charge anymore. And you realize that you don't want to be in charge, because look at the knots your ego gets you, and look at the difficulties you experience when you try and work it all out yourself. And you know that from your own life experience, don't you?
Yeah,
how difficult it can be.
My throat chakra is a mess because of exactly this.
Yeah, so you're trying to get it all perfect and right, and you trying to determine what to say, and then then you feel constricted, and you feel not certain, and you say there's something, and then you're like, oh, well, is it right? Maybe, and you double question yourself, and there's no kind of flow and no clarity and no certainty. Whereas if you flow with things, you'll just be guided to say the right thing at the right time, and there's no sense of, oh, I got that wrong. No, because that's obviously what I meant to say. Some people might think you got it wrong. That's their opinion, but it's just their opinion. But if you're really tapping into spirit, it can't be wrong. This is the ego, but remember, the ego always try and make it wrong, because the ego and the Holy Spirit are like opposite. They're always at odds. So good rule of thumb is that the ego is really opposed to it, then this probably means you're on the right track, and you're actually listening to the spirit.
Yeah, it's getting easier and easier.
Yeah, that's a practice, isn't it? You don't get it all at once, because if you're so used to trying to interfere and control yourself and work it out yourself, it takes some doing to say, okay, I don't have to do that anymore. And then the ego says, well, if I'm not in charge, who's going to be in charge? It's going to be a disaster. You can't have no one in control. Someone's got to be in charge here. Like, I'm it, so listen to me. But actually, if you're willing to trust the Holy Spirit, it'll show you that it's all actually being controlled by a higher power, and it all seems to miraculously work out quite well if you don't interfere. And then the more you start to experience that, the more you start to trust that and go, okay, so what Yeshua is saying, these principles are true, not just theoretically, but in my own experience, I can verify verify that they are true. Okay, so I'm happy to move on to number 6.
Okay.
So I think it's Elaine. There's one major difference.
The
Reading the alternative, there's one
Yeah.
translation which is heaven's messengers becomes perfect love's messengers.
Okay. There is one major difference in the role of perfect love's messengers that distinguishes them from those the world appoints. The messages that they deliver are intended first for them, and it is only as they can accept them for themselves that they become able to deliver them everywhere that they were meant to be. Like earthly messengers, they did not write the messages they bear, but they become their first receivers in the trusted sense, receiving
Truest
to what? Sorry.
In the truest sense, truest, not trusted.
Oh, did I say where am I?
Truest,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
trusted. A truest sense. Yeah, I can't see properly there. Yeah, in the truest sense, receiving to prepare themselves to give.
Okay, so what's he saying there?
Well, there's one major difference in the role of perfect love's messengers that distinguishes them from those the world appoints. So the message is intended, is delivered first to them. And then once they can understand and accept it, they can deliver it to wherever else it's meant to be.
No.
And like earthly messages, they didn't write the message they bear, but they become their first receivers.
Oh. So we receive and then we can give.
Yeah.
It's a flow through. As I receive, I give. The more I can receive, the more I can give it. The more I give it, the more I receive it. Like a water flowing. So think of a dam. It's like if something's coming in and then it doesn't flow out. It's not given, then it gets stuck. The water goes stagnant. So it needs you need both ends open, to make it a river. It's got to be like flowing through, continuously flowing through you. It's not getting stuck. So it comes in and then it flows through you and you give it. And then you realize that there's no end to this. It's an abundant flow. The river is always running, it's never dry. Water is life-giving water, which is the spirit, is always there. Just don't dam it up, literally. Don't dam it up with your judgment and your anger and your condemnation. Anything else that blocks the flow. As soon as you stop extending the love and you block the flow. And then you feel that and this is how the energy kind of turns in on itself, becomes negative and stagnant. Just like water does, water's not moving, stagnant, and you get diseases. But if it's flowing freely, then you just won't happen. You never get diseases unless it gets polluted, by chemical toxins. But nature can't become stagnant normally. Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
No, that's clear. Thank you.
As you give, you receive. Really, another version of that lesson, which we had a number of times.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 7, I think that's moving on to Kim again.
Alternative.
Yeah, I think so. Not much to translate, just perfect love. Instead of God, messengers of God become messengers of perfect love.
Earthly messengers fulfill their role by giving all their messages away. The messengers of perfect love perform their part by their acceptance of its messages as for themselves, and show they understand the messages by giving them away. They choose no roles that are not given to them by its authority, and so they gain by every message that they give away.
Okay, so what's he saying there?
Well, as you receive the message of perfect love, we accept it for ourselves as the messages, the earthly messengers, and we give it away, showing our understanding. So we receive, accept, give it away. And it says here, they choose no roles that are not given to them by its authority. I'm not sure if I understand that part. The last one is so that they gain by a message they give away. You benefit with the receipt and the giving. And if it's love, there's a benefit in terms of giving, and so you receive as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that sentence 3.
Yeah.
Choose no roles that are not given to them by its authority.
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't choose any roles other than what's given to them by pure formless awareness. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah. They're not given to them by. We could shift it around if you want. They do not choose. The Torah do not choose any roles that are not given to them by its authority. So they gain by every message they give. So whatever you're supposed to do, you will do.
You accept the role, and that's what you're doing as an earthly messenger.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yes, and that may look, that the form of that role will change depending on your life and life situations, circumstances, and different people have different parent roles. So someone might be actively teach it. Someone might be a musician and they do it that way. Someone else might be in business as you are and they do it there. You see, so it just depends. The role is given to you by the Holy Spirit, but it's always the same underlying message in that role. That perfect love is the only thing to give away, to be aware of, to give away.
Just be love and extend love, give love.
Yeah, that's all. And then it'll take a form that is suitable. Whatever is needed, you will be guided, to do that. To be the love that is required in that situation, in that role, whatever role you're playing on the level of form, none of which are ultimately real, but they become the context for the divine love to be extended. So they gain by every message that they give away. And as we give, we receive. Okay, Christine, thanks so much. See you tomorrow, hopefully. We'll do a 12:30, 1:30 session tomorrow if you'd like to join us. All right, sleep well. So another version of, as I give, I receive. As I receive the message, I can give it because I can only give what I have received. And then as I give it, I confirm that I must have received it. Because how can I be giving it if I haven't received it? You see, perfect logic. So the more I give it, the more I'm confirming that I receive it. And so there's a flow that happens. The more I give it, the more it's like, well, it's always there to give. So when you enter the flow, it's just streaming through you and you're giving it. continuously, and then it's always on. You can't lose it. It just come through you, and you realize, well, this is an infinite source. It's never ending. It never dries up. I just have to get out the way and allow that, to happen. So take these sessions. It just comes, when I'm speaking and other people speaking as well, if they're inspired, it just comes. You're not having to script it, think about it, plan it. It's just okay. It's just coming through you and extending through you, and it's endless. It just happens, and you say the right thing, and there's a flow. It will happen. How does it? It's quite miraculous, isn't it? How do you know what to say next? How does that arise? If you start overthinking it, then you get stuck. You go, oh, well, actually, you don't know. So now I get insecure because I don't know what to say next. But actually, if you tap into the spirit, then the words will always be there. And Yeshua said this actually to his disciples when he sent them out on the road. He said, look, I commend you to the Holy Spirit. So you're going to go out and don't worry what to say. Don't worry what to say to people. Don't worry where to go. Don't worry about money. It will all be provided because you're doing God's work, and just trust the words will come when you need them. You'll say exactly what is required in every situation. So he was teaching them these principles, saying you must let go and go with the flow, to put it in more modern language, and trust that the flow is always there because it's never ending. It's an infinite, eternal source. You can never stop it. You can block it. You block it by over-analyzing and overthinking. And occasionally I've had times where I'm like, oh, actually, what am I going to say next? And then if you think about that, then you start feeling stressed, and then you block the flow. Right? So then the way out of that is just let it go. Drop it. And enter into a kind of empty, open, aware state. And then in that empty, open awareness, it kind of streams through you. So it's like the river running through, but there's no holding on to it, and there's no attempt to control it, and no fear that it won't be there. Just happens endlessly, and the right words just seem to tumble out, and it all kind of strings together in sentences that seem to be coherent and make sense to not just yourself but others. So how does that all happen? It's quite miraculous, isn't it? The power of speech. You think, like, how are you doing this right now? How am I speaking? How are you speaking? What's actually behind it to make what you're saying coherent? It's quite extraordinary, really. Miraculous. So what he's saying. Yeah, just to start becoming more aware of it, that yes, this is actually happening all the time. Consciously acknowledge it, be aware of it, allow it, don't block it. Just get out the way and really, allow this flow more and more, because this is how you'll become the teacher of God, teacher of perfect love that you truly are. And this is how you'll awaken. The more you teach it, the more you awaken to the truth of it, and the more convinced you become that it is the truth.
The teaching is this really being the flow outlet of this perfect love message coming through, Holy Spirit, like you say, getting out the way.
Yeah. And then you become it. If it's just flowing through you endlessly, I mean, you are the river then, aren't you? You know that you are the flow of this life energy. You are that very essence of it. And it's never ending. It's flowing through you all the time. So you start becoming aware that there's this eternal source that's always there and can always be drawn upon and given and extended in every situation. And then you heal the lack, which is the only problem in your mind. The lack of that source is the fundamental problem of this world and this universe, that you think you are somehow lacking that divine source. And then all the ego's dysfunctions come in because it's now trying to compensate for the lack. But you can't. You just have to, let go of any sense of lack and trust. Abundance. The truth is always there. The abundance is always there. It's going to stream through, and I just allow it to come through. I let go and I allow this to flow through me, and then you can't help but be convinced that it's in you and that you can always rely on it.
Yeah.
And so, that's what he's saying. I mean, he said this many times. It's just another version of the same lesson, stated a different way. Among the ministers of God, and among the teachers of perfect love, if you want to translate it. Well, what does that mean? That means you're called to do exactly what other masters, who we call spiritual masters, have done. You teach this perfect love, and you try and teach it in your words and your actions and the way you live your life, and always going to get it perfect. But you're trying, and you're always open to that flow and to correction. Okay, so maybe I didn't get that right, exactly right, but it's okay. I don't beat myself up. I just let go some more and I allow it to flow some more. And if you do that, you really do start finding a flow, and that's flow of this divine energy are the miracles. That's why he calls it a course in miracles. You see, so it's really a course in finding that flow of love coming in and through you, and surrendering to it, and allowing it to be always on, always there in your awareness, always able to receive it and to give it. And that's what he's training us to do. The beyond that, he says, I can't teach you the meaning of love. That will come when you're ready. But I can help you to remove the blocks to awareness of love's presence, which will help you get unblocked, which will help the flow to happen, and then the revelation will happen when you're ready. Okay, so
thank you, John.
Happy to go to number 8. Would you receive the messages of God? So there's only 2 of you now, so Elaine, if you can read that. The alternative, do I want to receive the messages of perfect love?
Do I want to receive the messages of perfect love? For in this way I become its messenger. I am appointed now, and yet I still wait to give the messages I have received. And so I do not know that they are mine, and do not recognize them. No one can receive and understand they have received until they give. For in the giving is their own acceptance of what they received.
Yeah, so what's he saying there?
Well, we're questioning our messages from perfect love. And the only way we need to be, well, it's now that we get the message, but the only way we'll know is by giving that message away. You can't really understand it until you've actually given it.
Yeah, that's so interesting, isn't it? So, this is why I'll ask you to repeat it and give it. So when you express it, then you learn it. So, okay, so it's not coming through you. You're expressing the truth. Well, you must have it in order to do that. You must start knowing it, you see, in order to do that. No one can receive and understand they have received until they give. Only giving is their own acceptance of what they received. So quite interesting idea, right? In the giving, you're actually fully accepting what you have received. Because there's no way you can give it unless you have received it. It's like an affirmation, right? Giving is the affirmation that you received it. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Which is powerful. So, okay, use that. Great. So the more I give, the more I affirm that I must have received, that I actually already have it. And that's why giving is so powerful. That's why this lesson of giving and receiving is repeated over and over and over again because it's so powerful. It's one of the key ideas to undo the ego. Okay, so any other thoughts on number 8? Happy to move to number 9. I am not now the messenger of perfect love. Let's read it in the original and then the alternative, Kim.
Sentence by sentence.
Yeah, thanks.
You who are now the messenger of God, receive his messages. I who am now the messenger of perfect love, receives its messages. For that is part of your appointed role. For that is part of my appointed role. God has not failed to offer what you need, nor has it been left unaccepted. Pure formless awareness of perfect love has not failed to offer what I need, nor have I left it unaccepted.
Yeah, okay.
Yet another part of your appointed task is yet to be accomplished. Yet I still have to accomplish another part of my appointed task. He who has received for you the messages of God would have them to be received by you as well. The remembrance of perfect love, which has received from me the messages of perfect love, wants them to be received by me as well. For thus do you identify with him and claim your own. For so I identify with it and accept them as my own.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
So it's saying here, my role is the messenger of perfect love. I am to accept the messages, and the message, and the other part of the appointed task is that Holy Spirit or remembrance of perfect love, who has received from me the messages, also wants me to receive them as well. So remembrance of perfect love receives the messages, wants me to receive them and accept them as well, and as my own.
Yeah. And the giving is, is part of that. That's kind of the whole point, the Holy Spirit's trying to awaken your minds. And so giving the messages are part of that awakening, to reinforce in your mind that you must be what you give. Cannot not be. That's that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it's helpful for others and planet at one moment. It's helpful to others to hear those messages, and it's all part of that one moment. But it's really for you. It's probably for your own awakening. But as you follow your own awakening and you're guided by the Spirit, then you're also helping others' awakenings, because that's how it works. Its role, its goal is for everyone to awaken. So then it's going to use you to help others awaken, and in the process awaken you. Very clever, really. It's just it all works hand in glove, doesn't it? Holy Spirit's thought system, giving and receiving. And you start to see the beauty and the elegance of this thought system compared with the egos. And then you start to go, well, it's a no contest. It's a no-brainer. Surely this is the thought system I should be listening to and believing in, rather than this crazy, insane, dysfunctional thought system that causes so much pain and suffering and misery and death to me and others. So I become convinced that this is the only way. There's no other thought system available. Okay. So happy to move on to number 10.
The alternative?
Yeah, just God's word will be perfect love's message. His will I'm translating as awareness.
Right. It is this joining that I undertake to recognize today. I will not seek to keep my mind apart from this remembrance which speaks for me, for I hear only my voice as I listen to it. It alone can speak to me and for me, joining in one voice, the getting and the giving of perfect love's message, and the giving and receiving of its awareness.
Okay, so what's he saying there?
Well, it's this joining that we undertake to recognize today. And we won't keep ourselves apart from this remembrance, which is speaking to me. And I'll hear it with my own voice and listen to it. It's all about, again, the receiving and giving. Perfect love's message and the giving and the receiving comes from its awareness. So it's joining with that one voice and giving the perfect love's message through the giving and receiving of its awareness.
And then you learn that it's one awareness. What you're giving and you're receiving is the same. There's no difference. It's one awareness. And everyone has that awareness. What you're giving and what you're receiving is the same. And so it kind of merges back. The giving and receiving lesson is just part of the oneness, part of learning about that one-ment. See? Because apparently the forms of giving and receiving seem to be different in this world, but they're not really. Actually, it's giving, I'm receiving love and I'm giving love, and it's the same love. Yeah, and so you start realizing that's all that's real. That's it. So you learn it experientially through the giving and the receiving. Okay, so number 11, Kim. Practice giving it what it wants to have today. Kim, you still there? Dropped off maybe.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, 11.
Yeah, just the alternative.
Yeah.
I practice giving it what it wants to have today, so that I may recognize its gifts to me. It needs my voice to speak through me. It needs my willingness to accept its messages and carry them to to those whom it chooses. It needs my feet to bring me where it will, so that those who want him way to misery may be delivered at last. And it needs my will united with its own, so that I may be the true receiver of the gifts it gives.
Yeah, so what's he saying there? Be simple.
As a messenger, it needs my voice to be the message to go through me. I.e., I speak it or speak or act within it in this world, and it needs my willingness to do that. So I accept willingly, and then you could say speak or use a language, use a medium here to share the message, and do it physically when it says bring my feet. but it needs my awareness united with its own so that I may be the true receiver of the gift it gives. So I think it's just opening up, willingly open up to allow the message to come through.
Yeah. Yeah. So you become the instrument. Your body is used for holy purposes, and you dedicate your life to that, and then you have inspiring life, and then you can be truly helpful.
Yeah.
To yourself and others. Okay, so choose to learn this one lesson for today. Only this lesson for today.
I choose to learn only this lesson for today. I will not recognize what I receive until I give it. I have heard this said 100 ways and 100 times, and yet my belief is still lacking. But this is sure, until I believe it, I will receive 1,000 corrections and then 1,000 more, but will not know that pure formless awareness of perfect love itself has left no correction beyond what I already have, nor has denied the tiniest of blessings to its extension. What can this mean to me until I have identified with it and its extension? I don't know if I fully understand, but it was said earlier, as you receive the message, you accept it and you give it, and as you give it, you receive, and then it becomes my own. It's it's that flow, out in.
But you realize in the end that there's only one. You see, it takes you back to oneness. There's only one source of the giving and the receiving. It's the same presence that I'm giving and receiving always. So it's how we learn that actually these are the same. That there's really only one source that's always ever been given and received. Truly, the ego's imposter. There's this just false version of it. That's false. That's fake. It's not real. It's not true. You can't really give and receive what's false. Although in this world it seems that you can, but only the spirit is real. And actually, all you're ever giving and receiving, in truth, is the spirit. Is spirit. Pure form is the way it's a perfect love. To put it into our language, that's what spirit is.
Yeah.
And he's saying, well, it's all given to us. I receive all these corrections, but until I accept this, my belief is still lacking. And he's asking us, I think, to really extend here, to say, okay, step it up. You're like Yeshua. You're the same as a Yeshua, Buddha. You can extend as they did. And don't doubt that ability. You have the same power as they did. It's nothing special that they had that you don't have access to. What can this mean to me until I've identified with it and its extension? Fully identified. So that's, in the giving and the receiving, we learn to identify fully with it. Okay, so my lesson today is this.
My lesson for today is this. I am among the teachers of perfect love, and I am grateful that I have the means by which to recognize that I am free.
So it's claiming your true nature, because you can only teach love if you have it. And I'm grateful that
Or are it?
Yeah, you are it. You having and being are the same. He says that at some point.
Yeah.
It says, having and being are actually identical. You have it, you are it, you be it. It's your being. And then you extend from that place of being. And in the extension, you come to know maybe more fully that you are it, because you keep extending it. So how can you not be what you're extending? How can you not have what you're giving? See, it's not possible. You must have it because you've given it. And so your giving becomes an affirmation of your having, your being, and that's the way you reinforce it and you learn it fully. So there are no doubts. All your doubts are eventually let go of. There's no more doubts. You just know that that's what you are. Okay?
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm just sort of, when I listen to you, I close my eyes and just process going within and being that. But I mean, it's not necessarily a message of words, it's just a message of being. And then I suppose whatever message comes through, it's like, again, it's getting out the way, I suppose.
Yeah.
As the ego. So I don't necessarily consciously know what that message is. It's more like a sense of being.
Yeah. And
then
then
it comes out
it
in
will
a doing.
take a form, exactly. It will take a form that is appropriate for whatever context you're in, whatever your role is in life. So you work in a company. Well, okay, the form of it is going to adapt to that situation, the relationships, the whole situation. It will give you the guidance appropriate for that particular situation, because that's your role. That's the form of it. But the awareness is what you've got to tap into, and then allow that to come through. And then it gives you the guidance. Somehow you just know, you get guidance from all kinds of sources as to what to do. And the doubting stops. You know, if you're really rooted in your true awareness, there's no doubt. You know what to do. It gives you a sense of certainty and a calmness and a clarity that, you know, are invaluable. This is like to be calm and clear and centered and not mentally and emotionally turbulated and swayed in a situation like you're in, where it's challenging. It's very easy to start going into those mentally and emotionally unstable states. It's hugely valuable, because then you can make correct decisions, right-minded decisions, which is how you're going to get out of it. So this is actually, you know, a brilliant training for any field, business included, possibly even more so, because business can get a big hot button for people. It's primarily about relationships, special relationships. There can be a lot of, you know, the ego coming in, the guilt, the manipulation, control, all these dynamics can come in. So,
and commitments, contracts.
Yeah, all of that.
Agreements.
It's a minefield. You know, it's a minefield of the ego's thought system, and then relationships, and then many egos involved. And now everyone's very caught up in the illusions. So they're very attached to the form and outcome. They want, you know, everyone's like, no, we've got to make more money. We've got to make the clients happy at all costs. We've got to make more money. And, you know, these are the ego's beliefs. And now you've got to somehow let go of those. So it's advanced mind training in many ways. You know, so I guess, you know, you're getting a test. Been doing this a while now, 2 years almost, more than 2 years actually. You know, you're getting just tested on another level. Say, okay, we'll take it to another level, and that's what it's really for. So you overcome it, and then you go, well, actually, you know, I stress tested this. Actually, this, you know, this worked. It pulled me through, and I'm stronger for the future. Just get a crisis in future. Well, okay, I did it before, and I can do it again. I got to, you know, through the experience, you learn to trust more and more. Okay, so number 14, the world recedes.
The world recedes.
Mind.
Right. The world recedes as I light up my mind and realize these powerful words are true. They are the message given to me today from my source. Now I demonstrate how they have changed my mind about myself and what my function is. So, yeah. So it moves many times.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just going to repeat number 3. Now I demonstrate how they have changed my mind about myself and what my function is. For as I prove that I accept no will I do not share, I will become aware of and accept my many gifts from my source and recognize what I have received.
Yeah, it's kind of a summary of the whole thing there. Whereas I prove that I accept awareness I do not share. So
for as I prove that I accept no awareness I do not share, meaning whatever I accept, I share.
prove that we accept no will we do not share. So I accept a will that I share with everyone. Share it with my source, I share it with everyone. I accept no awareness that I do not share. Okay, because any other awareness is unshared. That means it's an awareness of separation. Sharing and unity go together, and not sharing and separation go hand in hand. So I don't accept any other awareness. There's only this true awareness that's always shared with everyone. I become aware of and accept my many gifts from my source and recognize what I have received. I accept my many gifts from my source. I recognize what I have received. And that's the crux of it. I accept and then I recognize that I've received it. And that's the whole point. I now know that I have it. And my faith is confirmed. And the more I do that, the more I can give it. And giving and receiving become, this beautiful flow in my life of giving and receiving and giving. And eventually, if you do that enough, you start learning that there's really no giving and receiving because it's the same source. So the movements of the giving and receiving it kind of merge into each other. And you realize there's no real distinction between these. They're just one. It's the same source. I've been giving and receiving. And then I merge back into that one awareness. So it's a path to, awakening to the full truth of that singular awareness that we are. Beyond giving and receiving, beyond any duality, because giving and receiving are part of the duality. But beyond that is just pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Yeah.
But that's how we learn it. We learn it in these ways of, okay, I need to accept it, and then I need to give it. And I do that repeatedly. Accept and give. And as I give, I learn that I've got it. And then I start relying on it more and I realize it's not never going to end. So I can't lose this. In fact, I gain more awareness of it by giving it away. That's the whole point. As I give, I receive. So why wouldn't I give it freely and generously? Because I gain more when I do that. No reason why you shouldn't.
It's interesting. The world recedes as I light up my mind with pure formless awareness, meaning that this ego world, how I interpret it as that this ego world receives as I light up my mind.
Yeah.
And realize these powerful words are true, meaning the message that we accept and give.
Well, these powerful words above. My lesson for today is I am among the teachers of perfect love, grateful that I have the means by which to recognize that I'm free. So it's claiming our identity and feeling grateful that I have the means by which to recognize that I'm free. In other words, as I give it, I receive it. And when I give it, then I recognize that I have it, then I recognize I'm free.
Yeah.
So that's the means given to all of us. Yes, I must give it in order to receive it. To know that I fully received it. And he's repeated this lesson a number of times.
Yes.
So it's been repeated at least 2 or 3 times in the workbook so far. Same message, but just a different phraseology. Is saying, I'm among the ministers of God, but he's using that to teach us this lesson.
Yeah.
Receiving. because he's saying this is the fast track. You know, if you can do this, you will undo your ego very quickly. Can't sustain anymore. Okay, so we have I did a little executive summary, key message. So maybe given the time, it's already 11 o'clock there. Do you want to do a quick meditation on it? I'll guide you through it.
Yeah, if it can it be really quick, John, is the reason why I'm in load shedding and my battery powers on my laptop is getting a bit
Right,
low.
so like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, if it's all right. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just I'll read it to you and then just repeat it after me. Ideally
Out
aloud.
loud or
Affirmation. Yeah, ideally as an affirmation, and we'll leave it at that. Then you get to.
Okay. Do I mute or when I?
Yeah, mute yourself, my dear. You're
Okay.
recording it. All
Okay.
right. So just give me a moment. Get the recordings going. All right. So just give me a moment. Making yourself comfortable. Each shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in. Through the nose. Scan your mind, so notice any thoughts, emotions, those body sensations going on. And you just exhale and you let those go. Breathing them out, releasing them to nothingness they really are. Going, gone, and then just opening your mind. So you're opening your mind to the truth. It's an empty vessel. And allow these words to permeate into your awareness. Summary of this lesson. Just breathe in as I speak the words, and then as I pause, then you speak them and exhale out through your mouth or your nose. So breathing in. So in my role as a messenger of perfect love, exhale. Breathing in again. I recognize that arrogance and false humility have no place in my journey. And exhale as you speak those words. And then again, nice deep inhale breath. I move beyond such foolishness and the need to judge myself. And you exhale as you speak those words. Breathing in again through the nose. Pause. It's not my task to judge my worth or determine the best role for myself. Exhale as you speak those words. Breathing in again, within a larger plan I cannot fully comprehend. I'll just leave you to breathe in as I speak and then exhale as you say the words as affirmations. My part lies in the state, pure formless awareness. Not in victimhood and suffering. And what I perceive as weakness can be transformed into strength. While what I perceive as strength often stems from arrogance. Breathing in again. The voice for perfect love has given me my true function. It does not act without my consent. It remains aware of my true nature and listens only to its own voice within me. Through this ability to hear its voice, I become aware that there is a unified voice within me. It gives me my function. Grants me the strength to understand it. And guides me in fulfilling it successfully. Breathing in again. In this joining of source and its extension through the voice for perfect love. Awakening is distinguished from the world. Breathe in again. This voice speaks of laws the world does not obey. Promising freedom from sin and guilt in the innocent mind. Your formless awareness of perfect love extends. Breathing in again. And out through the nose. Just get into a nice rhythm with the words and the breath. So, as a messenger, my role is not to question or determine the messages I bear, but to accept and deliver them as intended. Unlike earthly messengers, I become the first receiver of these messages, preparing myself to give them to others. By accepting and giving away these messages, I fulfill my role as a messenger of perfect love. Just keep breathing, nice deep breath in, pause, listen to these words, and exhale as you speak them. When I pause. So to truly recognize what I receive, I must give it away. Till I believe, I will receive countless corrections and blessings. Without realizing that pure formless awareness, perfect love, has already given me everything. By identifying with pure formless awareness, perfect love, and its extension, I embrace my role as a teacher and rejoice in the freedom it brings. So today, right now, I acknowledge that I'm among the teachers of perfect love. Grateful for the means to recognize my inherent freedom. As I gain this understanding, the world fades away. I experience the transformative power of these powerful words. My mind awakens to its true function. By refusing to accept any awareness that is not true, I recognize, receive, and give the abundant gifts of my source with gratitude. So just feel that deep gratitude for the teachings, lesson, breathing in again on the breath. Consider the key message of this lesson. Messenger of perfect love. So as a messenger of perfect love, my role is to accept and deliver its messages of love. And whatever role I find myself. And I will be guided by my thoughts, words, and actions. And how to do this. And in doing this, following this guidance, I learn to let go of judgment and arrogance. Recognize and be grateful for my true freedom. Lies in the giving and receiving, of perfect love. And so it is. And so just rest in this deep awareness for a minute or two to finish the meditation. There's nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do. So just breathe, relax, and be still for a minute to end the meditation and connect with this deeper presence. Perfect love that this section is all about. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, observe the breath flowing in and out, relax, be still. 4 minutes of key, perfect silence. Experience the perfect love that lies within that. So just gently coming back, some awareness of the body, the breath, senses, and the world. And on the count of 3, open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale, scan your mind. Notice any thoughts, emotions, related body sensations going on, particularly anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricted in any way, shape, or form. And you just blow that away. Let it go. And the exhale, count of 2, blow it all away, letting it all go into the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. One lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And you just rest. And this deep awareness. Gap between breaths, notice this perfect love, pure formless awareness, perfect love is there, always anchor that state in. Have the intention to stay there for the rest of the evening, carry it with you into sleep and on into the week ahead. So it is said, so it is done. So noticing the breath flowing in as you breathe in, touch of the breath in your nostrils, notice what you're hearing, subtle taste in your mouth, perhaps smell in your nose as you breathe in. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment, but don't judge it, so name it, label it, just observe without any judgment, detachment. Stay rooted in this awareness. It's the pure formless awareness, perfect love that underlies all of your sense perceptions. And now, on a count of 3, open your eyes, go around, take a minute just to anchor yourself back into this sensory world. Look at any object for a few seconds, notice it, notice the underlying awareness that you had when your eyes are closed is still there. You might close your eyes for a second or 2, then open them. Notice that nothing really changes when you do that. It's the same awareness. Look at another object, and notice that same awareness. Do that for half a dozen objects, just for a few seconds at a time, and notice there's really only just this deeper awareness that you connected with, hopefully quite deeply in the last 17 minutes or so, that's always there. And then you start to learn that this is always there. This awareness is the only truth. It's the one awareness. It's the alpha and the omega. It's the source, that which can never be undone. and you start to accept it as your own awareness. And that is the awakening to who you really are. So I hope this meditation and the session has helped you to take another step on that journey and really claim your true power as a teacher of perfect love, and to really start living that more fully, expressing, extending that love in every situation that comes your way. So that's my wish for you, and have a very good sleep and a good week ahead. Brings us to the end of the meditation and of tonight's session. So thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Jono.
And
I'm ready for bed now.
yeah,
Please.
no doubt.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow evening. Yeah.
Yeah,
good for
yeah.
that.
Thank
Okay.
you. All right.
Yeah, 8 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
Same
night,
login.
Jono.
Login as your
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Sleep
much,
well.
Jono.
All right.
Thanks.
Namaste.
Thanks. Bye. Sorry, it's a bit dark here somewhere. And
Yeah, you're in the
it's low
dark.
power.
Namaste.
Okay. All right.
All
Good
right.
night.
Sleep well. Namaste.
Namaste.
All right. So thanks to Kim and Lane and Christine and everyone who joined for that great session. I hope you enjoyed it. Key messages. We're all messengers of perfect love, and as we learn to give that, we receive it and we claim it as our own. So I hope you can do that. So I'll help you on that journey, and I wish you very well in that. If you'd like to join us in these calls and you're not a member, then just check below. I've put a link down below to join us in our next masterclass. Sunday evenings we do them, so join us then, and just click the link and register. So that's me. It's the session done. Thank you for listening, and namaste, which means the perfect love in me